live for the very first time, and 54% of these viewers engaging with Arts Commons for the first time. Without the support of ConocoPhillips Canada, we would not have been able to offer National Geographic Live Virtual for free to the entire Calgary community. With the support of TD Bank, we were also able to bring the TD Amplify Cabarets online, providing opportunities for BIPOC artists to express their truths through dance, music, spoken word, and artistic dialogue. As a gesture of our gratitude for welcoming us into your neighborhoods and homes through our community and virtual programs, we hosted a big end-of-summer celebration in our front yard of Olympic Plaza with Showtime, a live music celebration, which was a free one-night-only outdoor celebration of food, drink, and live music to thank Calgarians for their support of the arts during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over 1,500 socially
I don't see my face. We're live? Okay, fantastic. Welcome. Welcome to all members of the corporation, the guests, the staff, and a special acknowledgement of all honorary life members, past chairs, current board members in attendance. Thank you for joining us today. Arts Commons acknowledge that we are gathered on Treaty 7 territory, the original home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of the Siksika, the Piikani, the Ani, the Kainai, the First Nations, the Stoney Nakoda, comprised of Chiniki, Wesley, Bearspaw First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina First Nations. This territory is also the home of the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historic Northwest Métis homeland. The confluence of the Bow and the Elbow Rivers acted as a traditional gathering space for these Treaty 7 nations. As Arts Commons is located on this territory, we join in the spirit of gathering and with respect for these First Nations. So, in accordance with Article 5.5 of the Articles of Association, I'd like to declare that quorum has been established. And in accordance with Article 5.6 of the Association, I confirm that members entitled to vote at today's AGM are members of the Board of Directors. Directors of Arts Commons. We are so happy to finally host our 36th Annual General Meeting and to have this opportunity to share with you a recap of the 2021 season and what we are calling a year like no other. Just when we thought nothing could be more unique than 2019-2020, we had this season. Although our doors remained closed, our mandate to provide and care for artists and art organizations, to ensure equitable access and utilization of our venues, and to foster, promote, and celebrate a vibrant arts community remained as vital as ever. But before we get to the storytelling, let's begin today's event with the official business of the Annual General Meeting. Today we have a consensus from our board members. We will look for a motion and a second, but we won't call for the vote because of the virtual challenges of what that looks like. But I do know today that we have consensus amongst the board members after a motion has been made. First, the minutes of the last Annual General Meeting of December 15, 2020 were distributed to all members via email in advance of this meeting. Heather Campbell is going to make the motion to adopt the minutes as presented. Heather. Heather's frozen. Heather, can you raise your hand? Heather's frozen. Okay, James, will you make a motion? Okay, there's Heather. Heather, are you live now? Okay, I have a motion from Heather. Thank you. And to second the motion will be Rodney? No, it won't be. It'll be James. Thanks, James. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Colleen Dixon, Vice President and Chief Administration Officer, to discuss the financials on behalf of Greg Kudar, Arts Commons Board Treasurer. Colleen, please.
Thank you, Scott. As Scott mentioned, the Arts Commons building was closed throughout the 2020-2021 season. However, since a building of this size cannot remain empty, our security, facility, and production teams stayed to make sure the building was safe and to do much-needed repairs and upgrades, in part thanks to grants from all three levels of government. Keeping our staff employed and engaged was a primary focus when the pandemic started in 2020, and throughout the 2021 fiscal year, this remained our focus. Critical to this was our success in accessing the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy, receiving over $1.8 million in support. We were also successful in recovering a portion of resident company venue occupancy fees, which we had forgiven in the prior fiscal year, receiving $299,000 through the Canadian Emergency Commercial Rent Subsidy Program before it ended in September of 2021. Additionally, our application to the Emergency Resiliency Fund program through the City of Calgary was well received and resulted in us being awarded $523,000. With massive reductions in earned revenues, our development team worked tirelessly to earn grants from Canadian Heritage Support for Workers in Live Art and Music Sectors Fund, Infrastructure Canada Healthy Communities Initiative, Canadian Association for the Performing Arts Presenters Capacity Building Program, and Canada Council's strategic funds and initiatives. Even though our doors remained closed through the season and what we were able to present was limited and very different from a typical season, we are grateful for the trust and commitment of all our sponsors who stayed with us and provided over $544,000 in support and $198,000 in gifts in kind throughout the year. Our board of directors kickstarted our philanthropic efforts, committing $552,000 to our COVID relief initiative. This significant level of leadership allowed us to launch a matching program, which our Founders Circle and Explorer Circle members responded enthusiastically, pledging another $176,000. In addition to this unprecedented level of giving, we received another $67,000 from over 359 generous supporters through individual and ticket donations. Originally facing a potential deficit of over $345,000, it is because of all of this work to access available programs and the generosity of our community that we were able to end the fiscal year with a small deficit of only $47,000, and we remain in a strong financial position with strong cash balances and cumulative surplus of just over $1.1 million.
Thank you, Colleen. I'd like to begin this portion of the meeting with a motion that the financial audited statements of Arts Commons for the year that ended August 31st, 2021 be approved by members of the corporation. Dave Dunlop is going to make this motion. Dave, thank you. And second will be Salima Kassem. Salima, raise your hand. Thank you for your second. All right. Deloitte have been our auditors since 2010, providing a consistent and valuable resource which will stand us in good stead in the year to come. We'd like to make a motion that Deloitte be appointed as the auditors for Arts Commons for a one-year term. James Morton is going to make this motion. James, thank you. And to second the motion will be Megan Fielding. Megan, thank you for the second. And the Governance and Compensation Committee prepared a slate of nominees for the board, for the board's consideration, which was distributed to the members of the corporation via email in advance of this meeting. The slate is as follows: Jeff Boyd, Heather Campbell, Fern Sear, David Dunlop, Megan Fielding, Scott Hutchison, Salima Kassem, Greg Kudar, Aaron Lacra, Jim Laycraft, Alex McWilliam, Rodney McCann, Chris Malkin, James Morton, Chima Kemdiram, I do that all the time, sorry Chima, Randy Pettipaw, Margot Randalls, Stuart Reed, Holly Schall, David Smith, Henry Sykes, and Patricia Van de Sand. There's a motion that the members of the corporation elect the slate of nominees as presented, and David Smith is going to make that motion. David, thank you. And thank you to the second motion, which will be Alex McWilliam. Alex, thank you for your confirmation. This concludes the formal part of the agenda. And to terminate the formal portion of the meeting, Stu Reed is going to make this motion. Stu, thank you, sir. And the second will be from Randy Pettipaw. Randy, thank you. Okay, now on to the fun stuff. Firstly, the board would really like to acknowledge the work accomplished by our president and CEO, Alex Sarian. We hired Alex 2 years ago, and as our former mayor said in one of the public hearings, are we ever lucky in Calgary to bring Alex to this community? He adds enormous value, not just in the arts, but in his leadership throughout the city. I'd also really like to thank on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank the senior management team that he leads and all the staff who worked so hard to see us through another challenging year. facing a widespread lack of ticket revenue for the entire Arts Commons ecosystem, including residents, companies, Alberta Theatre Projects, Arts Commons Presents, the CPO, Downstage, One Yellow Rabbit, and Theatre Calgary, and entering our second season of the COVID-19 pandemic. This team went way above and beyond to ensure that this hub of artistic activity remained healthy enough to contribute to the vitality and well-being of Calgary. I'll now invite Alex to the stage to share some of our accomplishments of the 2021 season. But before I do, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Board of Directors for their hard work, their commitment, their passion, their financial donations, and their leadership with this organization. They've done a fantastic job. And I'd like to thank board member Sam Camus, who we all enjoyed having as a board member, for his service. And I'd also like to welcome our new board members, Megan Fielding and Christopher Malkin, who have joined the Board of Directors at large. Alex, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome everybody. I wish you were all in this room with us right now. The Jack Singer is looking beautiful. Greetings to you from wherever you are tuning in from. Hello from downtown Calgary. I'd like to take this time to not only share some of our successes, but also to recognize those who supported us through this past year. Without the support of our sponsors, donors, patrons, and as Scott mentioned, all three orders of government, none of what we did accomplish this year would have been possible. We call the Arts Commons ecosystem a family of performing arts companies and artists, as well as the community groups who call Arts Commons home. Our role as stewards is to support these community groups, these companies, these artists in the transformative work that they do and ensure that they are able to continue to share their creativity and culture with Calgarians as well as visitors to our amazing city. Arts Commons Presents, which is the presenting arm of Arts Commons, found new and exciting ways to bring the arts to Calgarians. With our doors still closed due to the pandemic, we lived our mission of bringing the transformative power of the arts directly to you in your neighborhoods with Arts Expeditions. With 78 performances in 30 unique locations, engaging 129 artists, many for multiple engagements, the 2021 edition of Arts Expeditions more than doubled the impact of the previous year. Over $36,000 was paid to artists and over $20,000 to technicians during a time when the gig economy had virtually dried up. A huge thank you to Canadian Heritage through the Support for Workers in Live Arts and Music Sector Fund and to Infrastructure Canada for their support in making this possible. Arts Commons Presents' wildly successful National Geographic Live series found a new home online with National Geographic Live Virtual, bringing the beloved speaker series to 59,573 viewers across Alberta, far more than we ever could have welcomed in person in the Jack Singer. 91% of these viewers engaged with National Geographic Live for the very first time, and 54% of those viewers were engaging with Arts Commons for the first time. Without the support of ConocoPhillips Canada, we would not have been able to offer National Geographic Live Virtual for free to the entire Calgary community. With the support of TD Bank, we also brought the TD Amplify Cabarets online, providing opportunities for BIPOC artists to express their truths through dance, music, spoken word, and dialogue with the support of Arts Commons and our resources. As a gesture of our gratitude for welcoming us into your neighborhoods and homes through community and virtual programs, we hosted a big end-of-summer celebration in our front yard of Olympic Plaza with Showtime, a live music celebration, which was a free one-night-only outdoor celebration of food, drink, and live music to thank Calgarians for their support of the arts during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over 1,500 socially distanced friends danced, sang, and enjoyed a long overdue but safe gathering with the community. And at that event, we were thrilled to announce our Season of Gratitude initiative. This program, which launched this current season, was created to give back to our essential workers who have sacrificed and continue to sacrifice so much to get us safely through the pandemic by offering up to 10,000 free tickets for them and their families to performances programmed by our resident companies, Alberta Theatre Projects, Arts Commons Presents, the Calgary Phil, Downstage, One Yellow Rabbit, and Theatre Calgary. We are beyond grateful for the incredible support of longtime Arts Commons patrons and arts fans, Rodney and Karen McCann, along with their children Brandon, Connor, Andrew, and Megan, as well as the additional support of Arts Commons Founder Circle and Explorer Circle members. We are so incredibly proud and privileged to have Rodney on our board of directors. Of course, these past couple of years have tested our resiliency, and we have all suffered deep, deep losses. The Arts Commons family suffered the loss of one of our own, Alberta Theatre Project's Artistic and Executive Director, Darcy Evans. ATP responded by establishing the Darcy Evans Legacy Fund and raised over $100,000 this season. This fund is to support a 3-month mentorship program for emerging artists to gain executive experience in the theatre industry. Poised for an incredibly vibrant future, the ATP Board of Directors recently appointed Rohit Chokani as the institution's new Artistic and Executive Director, and I cannot be more excited about welcoming him to the larger Arts Commons community of resident companies. The Calgary Phil, under the incredible leadership of its new CEO, Mark Stevens, launched All Access, a virtual portal to performances showcasing everything from Johann Sebastian Bach to Indigenous and Juno Award-winning composer Tanya Tagaq. Thanks to the support of the community, the Calgary Phil was also able to move their education concerts online, reaching 52 schools and over 4,200 students. Downstage, guided stunningly by Artistic Director Claire Pruce and Managing Director Danielle White, premiered their powerful one-woman performance of Dear Woman online to much acclaim. The incredible production went international, getting picked up by the National Arts Centre Indigenous Theatre in Ottawa and the Kia Mau Festival in New Zealand. One Yellow Rabbit, referred to by Artistic Director Blake Brooker in a recent and wonderful Avenue Magazine interview as a group of beautiful freaks pivoted as only they could. Their high-performance rodeo found a new way to celebrate Calgary's longest-standing theatre festival. For 35 days, 35 artists from past and future high-performance rodeos took over the rodeo's social media channels with new works lasting 1 to 3 minutes, resulting in increased social engagement and followers. I want to acknowledge One Yellow Rabbit Managing Director Johnny Dunn for his incredible leadership during this time. Theatre Calgary, who during this season welcomed an amazing new executive director in Maya Cholden, also stepped outside of their box and reinvented some of its most beloved performances. Directed by our dear friend and Theatre Calgary Artistic Director Stafford Arima, A Christmas Carol was turned into a cinematic experience and viewed by an estimated 20,000 people from every province and from over 20 countries around the world, and was even nominated for an Alberta Media Productions Industries Association Award. They also packed up their performance mentorship program for young artists and brought it on the road with Shakespeare on the Go, presenting 3 different casts and scripts of the Comedy of Errors in 41 locations around Calgary. Congratulations and a special thank you to all resident companies, their artistic and executive leadership, their staff, and their boards for working so collaboratively and compassionately. Together, we are charting a new future for the arts in Calgary. The pandemic has been especially hard on our kids, parents, and teachers. To support our young people, the Arts Commons education team produced 25 high-quality virtual interactive and on-demand workshops for the Teachers' Convention, engaging 3,142 teachers and 26 artists in subjects as diverse as music, dance, visual art, and performance art, energizing them and equipping them with new material for a new way of learning. ConocoPhillips Hub for Inspired Learning, which encourages inquiry, problem-solving, and critical thinking for students, also went virtual, with our education staff leading participatory classes in guided storytelling and craft activities that help them explore new ways to express themselves and their feelings. For parents who had suddenly found themselves educating their children from home, limiting their social interactions, and looking for safe, fun activities to do as a family, our production of Mountain Goat Mountain offered a purely audio experience and brought the wonder and delight of theater and the deeper conversations about ourselves and our world into their living rooms. In response to the acknowledgement that many artist communities have historically been excluded from the Calgary downtown art scene and our responsibility to change things, Arts Commons announced that this season the TD Incubator Program, a first-of-its-kind professional interdisciplinary artist development program prioritizing artists from communities who reflect the diversity and vibrancy of Treaty 7 territory. I am humbled that local artists Jay Sterling and Contra are leading and guiding our inaugural cohort of incubator artists. Thank you. Thanks to the naming sponsorship and long-term partnership of the Royal Bank of Canada, Arts Commons was able to continue the RBC Emerging Visual Artist Program, running a full season of mentorship programs, workshops, and exhibitions in the building that were shared virtually through amazing 3D digital scans of the galleries. This not only provided the artists with continued exposure, but also offered the benefit of increased accessibility for both artists and staff and art lovers. And I know for myself, I found myself navigating those 3D galleries just to remind myself what this beautiful building looks like. Of course, much of what I've mentioned so far is about what we've done virtually or outside of the building. And although the building was closed for most of the season, it was far from ignored. Our facilities and production teams, who are incredible, focused on technological, health, and accessibility improvements so that we were ready to welcome you back when the time came. With hospital-grade MERV 14A air filters and ultraviolet germicidal irradiation technology in our ventilation systems, Arts Commons is one of the only buildings in the downtown core from which air is exhausted from our facility cleaner than when it went in. And just so you know, this was not a one-off initiative. An upgrade to MERV 15 filters is now in the works. Our beloved Jack Singer Concert Hall also received a technical upgrade. Through our groundbreaking partnership with Canon Canada, we installed state-of-the-art technology to transform the space into a 10-camera live broadcast venue, allowing us to bring the transformative power of the arts to even more of you within the comfort of your home. Accessibility improvements were also made to the backstage areas of the Jack Singer Concert Hall, the Max Bell Theatre, and the Martha Cohen Theatre, including accessible dressing rooms and washrooms. This removes some of the previous limitations and barriers that our 35-year-old building presented. Of course, this brings me to the Arts Commons Transformation Project, also known as ACT. ACT has been identified as a pivotal project for downtown Calgary's revitalization. On April 26, 2021, Calgary City Council approved $80 million for Phase 1 of ACT, the expansion of Arts Commons, as part of a $200 million investment in Calgary's Greater Downtown Plan. This investment in ACT was the single largest budget item and the only project named in the city's plan, recognizing ACT as a catalyst for downtown redevelopment and vibrancy. And this is something that I think we should all be shouting from the rooftops as other cities seek to reinvent and redevelop in the wake as we recover from COVID-19. In February, in just a few weeks, we will be announcing our Prime Design team, and we are so excited to share this news with you. Keep an eye on your inbox for more information, and stay tuned. Now, while I've spoken a lot about what we do here, I want to put a bit of a spotlight on how we do things. Our values at Arts Commons are to do the right thing, to be open, and to do our best always. And while we strive to practice these values every day, we know that we still have a lot of work to do to be inclusive of all Calgarians, and especially those who are the original keepers of this land. In a very humbling initiative that we started this year, under the guidance of Indigenous elders Dr. Reg and Dr. Rose Croshoe, of the Piikani and Blackfoot Nations, and under the mentorship of United Way of Calgary, we have begun the incredible and humbling process of drawing parallels between Indigenous ways of knowing and Western ways of doing business. This process will be a long one, it will not happen overnight, and is not something that will ever fall by the wayside. In our existing space, and especially in the new space that will be realized through ACT, we aim to create spaces that bring people together around a shared commitment to sanctified kindness and respect for all existence, where building relatives with one another transcends and becomes more important than allyship and partnerships, and where we recognize that being a social business does not just impact what we do on stage and in our halls, but more importantly, how we work behind the scenes and how we govern ourselves. We are humbled by the generosity of these partners in this work that we are doing together. As I wrap up my remarks, I want to reiterate my unending gratitude to each and every staff member of Arts Commons for looking a pandemic in the eye and realizing that this is not a moment to pause and await a return to normal, but rather the opportunity of a lifetime to reimagine how the arts can, safely, remind us of our shared humanity while imagining a more vibrant and inclusive future. To the best board of directors and board chair any CEO could ever wish to work with, thank you for your leadership, generosity, and vision. And to all of you watching on your screens, thank you. There is so much more I could tell you about, but I know that I can't keep you here all day. So thank you, not just for joining us on this journey, but for holding us accountable to our unwavering belief that a strong arts community is essential to Calgary's social, economic, and civic future. Thank you so much for joining us today.